Radio 1 Breakfast with Greg James.
Chris Tarrant won't write you a check for playing on your PlayStation. The fact control.
Tarrant! Hi guys, I've kindly been sent a camera from Viofo, the new A129 DUO, and I said I would do a completely impartial review. This is what you'd receive through the mail. Currently available on Amazon for less than £130. It's a Wi-Fi camera, so you can get the app to your phone. It's front and rear, very, very discreet once fitted. Very well packaged as well, as you can see. You can see the top one's the front camera, the bottom one's the rear camera, which is equivalent. The rear camera is equivalent size of an old matchbox. You've got an external AV input, and there's your front and rear connections for the cables. That's the GPS unit already attached, which has a power supply, but a micro SD slot, reset button, and microphone. Movable camera lens. The previous model to this, the A119, was known to have power issues through the GPS unit. Apparently these have been resolved on the A129. This is the power connector through the GPS unit. It should be fine now, but like I said, the old A119, you would power it through the camera, not the GPS unit. That's your emergency button and your Wi-Fi button. Everything's very well made, nicely laid out. This is really discreet, really small, well made. You get two adhesive mounts for each camera. That's where the camera connects. Here we have the 6 meter long rear cable that plugs into the front camera through to the rear camera. There's a 90-degree angle to make it easier for fitting as well, which is really good, really handy. That's the front power lead and a twin USB connection from your cigarette socket, so you can power the camera and still have another USB charging port. There's the output voltages if you need to see it. So you charge a modern smartphone. That's the rear mount, which wasn't attached, and you get a spur as well, and you get spur adhesive pads as well. Very well made. This is to connect the camera to a laptop or a computer if you wish. There's some spur adhesives, 3M pads. You get 2 extra of each. These are just some self-adhesive clips to hold your cables down, and this is a tool to help feed your cable around the trim inside the car. It's actually alright, worked okay. It's the most detailed manual I've come across in any dashcam I've owned. If you want to read any of these properly, you'd have to pause it, because I'm just flicking through relatively quickly. But the camera will take up to 256 gig memory card. I would recommend using a larger card. I'm running a 128 gig card, because when you save a file it saves 2, front and rear, both at 1080p, so the files are slightly larger than normal. So the bigger the card the better, because then you're guaranteed not to, if you've saved a few files, you're guaranteed not to lose anything, so to speak. But a 128 gig card should give you over 9 hours before it loops, and you can pick them up relatively cheaply on mymemory.co.uk. I'll include a link in the description, as well as a link where to currently purchase the camera on Amazon through Viofo directly. Now we're getting into the main part of the settings and downloading the app to use the Wi-Fi option on the camera. And there's also the Bluetooth button that you can buy as an optional extra. It can be located anywhere in your car, so if the camera's out of reach, if you're a lorry driver or a bus driver, or it just is located in a weird place, if you've got the Bluetooth button, you just hit the button and it'll save any file, front and rear. So it's actually a really good idea in my opinion. And here's the customer service details if for whatever reason you need to get in touch with them. And here's the memory card that I purchased to record the footage onto the camera from the website I mentioned earlier. Not had any issues with any of these cards. So essentially this is what you get. This is the menu system. When both cameras are connected, you get 1080p front and rear. Bitrate, I am not completely sure what that means, but some techie would know. Live video source, that's just what is on display on the screen. So you can have front and rear, main, front, and vice versa. Wide dynamic range is now switched off. I prefer it off. Exposure levels, depending on whether it's cloudy, you can adjust that, front and rear. You can have parking mode, which I don't use. I just leave the camera powered up permanently if I want it on, and you can change the frame per second. Time-lapse recording, I must admit I am not completely convinced I know what that is. Motion detection, that's another, I suppose, form of parking mode. GPS needs to be switched on when you get the camera. You can choose between kilometers per hour or miles per hour when you enable the GPS. This is the G sensor. I have it on low or off, otherwise you save lots of clips you don't need. This is if you wish to use Wi-Fi to the app on a tablet, and this is the speed of the Wi-Fi, 2.4 gig or 5 gig. This is the date stamp if you want it on or not on your footage. I do, so I leave it on. This is the GPS information. You can have all of it or none of it or parts of it. So I just leave it all on, because if you've got it, why not use it? The camera model, if you don't want it showing on your videos, if you post videos on YouTube, you can turn it off, but I have it on. You can choose to record audio or not record audio. Screensaver turns the screen off between 30 seconds, a minute or 3 minutes. I must admit I do not know what that is, but it's something I wouldn't use. Date and time, obviously you just set that. Time zone, now in the UK sometimes we alter for daylight saving hours, so I currently have it set at +1. These are all the languages available. The beep sound completely off or partially off, depending on what you prefer. Now, image rotation, that is possibly very useful to someone who wishes to put the front camera or rear camera upside down, so to speak. So if you wanted to mount it on your dash or on your parcel shelf in the rear, you can rotate each individual image or both images from the front or rear or together. Format is just to format your SD card. You also get a format warning, which can be set up how you prefer. You can have 15, 30 or 60 days, whichever one you want. Restore to default settings, your registration number. You can even input a custom text, and this is the current firmware version that I'm running on the camera. So, turn the camera on. Now it's asking for the Wi-Fi. Tap your app, connect your camera, continue. A129. Connect your camera, and you're on. Are you there? I don't know if you can see it. You can turn the recording on and off. very dark that. Damn now. There you go. So it's beeping because it's letting you know it's not recording. So if we just press this again, and it's recording. Okay. You stop it recording, you can go into your save files. It should stop beeping because it knows we're actually looking at the files. And there's all your files. Right, the only way I can turn off the Wi-Fi, might be me being not technically savvy, is to stop recording. Because if you look at the actual camera now, the only way to disconnect the Wi-Fi to use your menu button, which now doesn't do anything, and you can't change your view because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, is to factory reset. So you have to go into your settings and then, where are we? Reset camera. So the whole thing will reboot itself to factory. So now, stop it recording. Now you get your menu back. But you couldn't do that when you're connected to the Wi-Fi, and there's no easy way to disconnect the Wi-Fi unless I'm missing something. That's the only negative I found. Like I said in the video, there's every chance that it may be something I've missed on the settings, but if I am right in what I'm thinking, Viofo will probably address this with a future firmware update anyway, because they're very good at listening to what the customers say. Okay, so now I think we'll have a little look at some of the actual footage. This is obviously the front camera. A great test for any dash camera is when the sun is low in the sky and it is in front of the camera, and it gives you an idea on how it copes with shadows and distortion to the picture basically. But this is handling it very well. The older style cameras, or the low end cheaper cameras, you'd actually see just a black circle in the sky. You wouldn't pick up much detail at all really. This is very clear. And here again, another test of the sun coming into view from right to left. Just look at the detail it's picking up before it comes in, the indicators, the road markings, and then the sun comes across. You'd think it ruined the picture, it doesn't. Shadows everywhere, and it still keeps most of the detail. No issues whatsoever. The Viofo A129 does a great job. So we'll have a little look at the rear camera now, which is also 1080. Just try and pick up as much detail as you can see. It's getting road markings, number plates, or even the signage on the side of the building. And I've left this one on because as I reverse into the bay, you can actually see loads of fine detail from the other vehicles, number plates, just everything you'd expect to see in real life. Obviously the fisheye lens makes it look slightly unusual, but it's just a great picture and does everything you need it to do. A little clip. This is going to show a little bit of speed for road noise, which is fine, and actually some examples of audio you can listen to which isn't copyright, and you can get an example of how good the microphone is.
Turn is Ruby, don't take your love to turn. There is a Something's Burning, so you can combine those. Islands in the Streams of Dolly Parton, Lucille,
Volvo,
Lady,
please
and,
go.
11 on the list. Surprisingly few.
You're in the fastest lane of the two, so sure. I mean, you've got a big engine. I've got a 900cc.
So that's it. And if you want to say hello to anybody, then now's the time.
Now I thought I would give you an example of nighttime driving, because we're all going to be driving at night and you want a camera that is good at night, which is the biggest downfall for most dash cameras. As you can see with the street lights and just the headlights, this is actually very good. I haven't included a rear facing nighttime driving clip yet from my car because I have limo black tinted windows, but I have a friend who I recommended this camera to and he purchased it and he loves it as well, and he's got standard rear window, so I'm going to include a clip from his camera. As you can see, lots of fine details being caught, even with a dirty rear window, even reflections off cars, road markings. You can even see the people's faces. It's very, very good. So what do I personally actually think of the camera? Well, there's good points and a bad point in my opinion. The good points, the build quality is very good. Nothing on the camera at any point felt loose or like it may break. All the cables are really well constructed. No interference through my radio, but I don't have DAB, so I can't comment if that shuts down DAB, which has been on other dual camera systems, but as far as I'm aware this one does not do it. The footage daytime is absolutely superb, is good enough for anybody, and at night time it's still really, really good. Another major plus for me is the size of the memory cards and the capacity. I'm running a 128GB card, which was reasonably priced at under £25. It says you can run 256 if required, but 128 gigs should be plenty. With the purchase price you get the GPS included, and I know there is an optional package to buy which also includes the Bluetooth button. I didn't have that, but I can see that being a really, really good purchase option. But all the options do seem to be of a reasonable price. The Bluetooth button, I think direct from Viofo is $20, which is probably about £14, and I think if you get it as part of the package it's even cheaper, so it works out about £10. So they're well worth considering. You know, if you're going to buy the camera, then think about all the extras that you think you'll want before you do it, and you'll get it at a better price. I actually already had a CPL lens to make it slightly clearer during bright days. Some people think that the CPL lens lowers the quality at night, but I've not found that, but each to their own. But the CPL lens during the day does make a massive difference. Another benefit of the camera, it uses capacitors inside to store the date and time and shut down correctly, not an internal battery, which eventually always fails. So in theory you're going to get a very long lifespan out of the camera system. I do have a capacitor camera that is over 7 years old and still working strong. Another positive point is that Viofo regularly do firmware updates for nearly all the cameras, just to slightly tweak and improve, and they're so easy to update yourself. Another advantage this camera has got, being the wedge style front and rear and quite small physically, is that it's very discreet to see. I mean, you cannot see it from the outside unless you physically look for the camera. And fitted to a modern car, you'd think it was just like a rain sensor or something similar. So in regards of theftability of the camera, if people don't realise it's there, then they're not going to see it to steal it. Another bonus that I found was when I came to install the camera, it was incredibly easy to do. I mean, if you use the cigarette adapter, it's even easier. But as long as you've got a 12-volt source and you can get the hardwire kit direct from Viofo, then it is incredibly easy to install yourself. Another advantage is Viofo are very, very communicative in regards to customer service. If you have any issues or you want to ask a question, you can actually go direct to their website and they have a little chat box and they will speak to you directly or even get back to you via email. Now, in regards anything negative I found about the camera, there was very little. I did spot that when the camera is connected via Wi-Fi to the app to your phone, that the menu button ceased to work physically on the camera, so you could not access the menu system to change your settings. You had to do it via the app on the phone. I would prefer physically myself to be able to do it on the camera as well, so you've got the choice. So I guess the question is, would I buy the camera with my money? Yes, all day long I would buy it. If I needed another one, I would buy it again. It is so flexible in the fact when you save a clip, it saves the video front and rear at the same time, and both copies carry the audio across. So if you do want to do any YouTube videos or anything at all, or you just want to provide evidence in a serious incident, you've got all the evidence on both clips. And also, being a capacitor camera, I know for a fact it is going to last a hell of a long time and be reliable.